bald. Yeah, we're bald and we're good to go. MLS Aces Podcast, episode 214. It is a full group tonight, and I'm starting down in the opposite corner from me with Sam because you were the only one that danced during the music.
I always dance.
Sam, how are you, bud?
I'm doing great. It's good to have the group together. The boys are back, so this is good.
Full squad.
How are you?
And next, thank you. I'm doing well, Sam. Doing well. You and I, you saw me shove down dinner 30 seconds ago, so it's all good. It's all good. Next to Sam, we have Jason Vivang. Jason, fresh haircut, feeling good, looking good.
I was gonna dance during that music, but for some reason, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but I'm pretty sure the first 5 seconds of it were in slow motion.
It always happens like that. There's like an audio.
Yeah, but it was really, really pronounced today.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Jason. And Vaughn Pullman. Vaughn, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We were talking about it before we started this whole thing, like skipping a week. Like there are so many moves that have happened. MLS is freaking nuts, man. There's so much that's happened since the last episode, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Exactly. And I mean, I really want to dive into it. So listeners this week, watchers this week, I think we're going to get a little less playful chatter between us, and we're really going to just have to dive into the 7,000 moves that happened across the past 2 weeks. Maybe. We'll see. But first things first, we always have to thank our sponsor, Soccer 90. You, faithful listener, watcher, whatever you are doing right now to take in the MLS Aces podcast, make sure you are making soccer90.com the primary source for all of your Major League Soccer, U.S. national team, and international club gear. You can watch for fresh MLS gear landing the entire month of February because, as we know, February is the month of jersey reveals for Major League Soccer. All MLS Aces podcast listeners or watchers, whatever you're doing, you can receive 20% off your entire purchase when you use promo code MLS Aces at checkout. That's promo code MLSACES at checkout. Some exclusions may apply. Thank you to Soccer 90 for sponsoring episode 214 of the podcast. If you guys want to follow us on social media, pretty much just search MLS Aces on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. You will find us, and you will find a link to all of our social medias. If you guys are watching live or watching in the future, all of our Twitter handles are next to our beautiful faces, so you can see that there as well. And if you want to learn a little bit more about us, head over to MLSAces.com and show us some support and some love there with the blogs and everything going on there. Okay, that is all of the show notes. I tried keeping that as short and sweet and simple for everyone listening and for you guys as well. But I do want to start off this episode on a little bit of a serious note. Vaughn, I know you wanted to start off with the news of Christian Carrillo that came out this past week.
Yeah, I'm sure many of the listeners here already know what's happened. Many may not be in the know. But we wanted to go ahead here at MLS Aces and dedicate this episode to Christian Carrillo. Christian Carrillo was U15 goalkeeper for Atlanta United, and he tragically lost his life to an alleged drunk driving incident this past week. I think it's a really good time for us all to kind of reflect. We're all a part of soccer supporter culture. We know that drinking and having fun is a big part of soccer culture and U.S. sports culture. And I think that Christian Carrillo's life was lost in a really unfortunate manner. And we should all take a moment to just, if you're going to a game, you're going to a party, you're going to a tailgate, whatever, don't drink and drive. Please, 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 please. If you see somebody else that is drinking and you can give them a ride or you can prevent them from getting in a car, from driving themselves home, please step up and keep them from doing that. obviously here, Christian Carrillo lost his life. But also you don't know that if you're drunk, you don't know that you're going to get home, and you don't know that you're not going to prevent somebody else from getting home and seeing their loved ones ever again. So somber note, but there's currently a GoFundMe going for Christian Carrillo's family, trying to raise funds for funeral expenses. If you can contribute anything, please do. And also just support the rest of your soccer community and your community in general, and just don't drink and drive.
And I mean, that's a great point, Vaughn. And obviously, on top of that, right? Like, I feel like it's inexcusable anymore, right? Like, we're living in a day and age of Uber, Lyft, and every other type of car service you can order at the palm of your hand. A $50 Uber ride is worth it more than anything else that you could potentially mess up your life, your own life, your family's life, some stranger's life, and their entire family with it, right? So don't drink and drive. I think that's a perfect point to start off this episode with, and obviously a rest in peace to Christian Carrillo, and to our thoughts are out to his family as well, and MLSAces will be making a donation as well to the GoFundMe out there to the Carrillo family. So no easy way of ever transitioning out of that, but let's talk some soccer. Let's give the listeners the soccer conversation that they obviously tuned in to listen to. And Vaughn, I want to start off with you because I think in the past 2 weeks, we've seen a very large group of designated player strikers come join Major League Soccer. On your, I guess, new local team has signed one. Sam, you've seen a few, join DC side.
Yep.
Sorry, Jason. We gave you Casper Stabilko 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But Vaughn, I know you hinted at it a little bit 2 weeks ago with the Swiderski rumored signing we chatted about a little bit. So if you want to talk about Swiderski a little bit more and, I guess his impact to Charlotte, please go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about, I don't remember if we covered it once he was officially signed, but it's significant. I mean, this is the DP striker that is going to be a major contributor to the front line for Charlotte FC. I know we said no rumors, but it's pretty much set that he's going to have Darwin Machis on the left wing there. I would be surprised if that doesn't go through. So Charlotte's addressing their big area of need and concern, which is, are they going to be able to score goals? and who's going to be doing it? And they're doing it in a big way by bringing in two very high-level designated players. I say very high level. It's not Insigne level, but I think guys that can be instant contributors that are going to be expected to step in and get into the score sheet. Swiderski is a big one, and Machis is going to be another equally large signing, arguably an even bigger one. And very excited for Charlotte FC to be going into the season with those pieces in place because, for example, Austin FC, they had to bring in a Drew Issy middle of the year. They had to bring in a Gite. It didn't happen from the kick. So for Charlotte FC, I'm excited that they're going to have those guys in place from the start of the season.
And I think if the listeners out there want to hear a little bit more about the Swiderski conversation, exactly, fully what he brings, definitely go listen to last episode because Vaughn hit it up highly there. But just for a quick highlight, 25-year-old Polish international striker. The guy knows how to score goals. He scores goals for fun. He's won trophies in his career. This is a big time signing for Charlotte, especially year one. I think Tom Boger reported roughly a $5 million transfer fee for Swiderski. So typically those do decently well in Major League Soccer and MLS history. So I'm excited to see what Swiderski can bring there. And the next striker that I wanted to talk about super quickly because I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we talked about Orlando City signing Facundo Torres to kind of be, the Nani replacement, right? A young player there. But it looks like Orlando City got their Daryl DK replacement by signing DP striker Ercan Kara from Rapid Vienna in the Austrian Bundesliga. Transfer market had this move rumored about $880,000 a year. But again, you're looking at another mid-20 international striker who's scored a ton in his career. I think Kara comes in a little bit less than maybe a Swiderski or maybe another Rapid Vienna striker we'll talk about in a little bit. But I like the move. I think if you're setting him up to be, I guess, again, that Daryl DK replacement, I think you could maybe get more in your return for a guy like Kara. DK super young player. I think Kara, once he gets used to what Major League Soccer is and the travel and everything else that goes with it, I feel like he could be a force up top, especially lining him up with a Facundo Torres, lining him up with a Benji Michel and everyone else that they have up top, Tesho Akindele, right? I really like, I guess, where Orlando's trying to say, okay, we sold players, we lost players. Let's go turn around and let's take that money that we just lost and let's go put it into a designated player. Let's go put it into a young, talented player we're going to sell off in the next few years. So I don't think Kara is going to come in and he's going to be a 25-a-year goal scorer, but I think for the price that they signed him for, if you get 12 to 15 goals out of a guy like this, especially, he's coming in as your designated player, I think Orlando City could be getting back into that super dangerous point. I think they're very good right now. I don't know how dangerous they are. I think Kara could be the guy to help determine that, right? Because a good striker at the end of the day wins you a ton of games. So Orlando City wanted to give you your love there. And again, another striker coming in to dominate things. And the same thing with the Philadelphia Union, right? They go out, they sign Mikael Uhre from Brøndby for a club record deal of $2.8 million. Again, I don't think any of us are going to sit here on this podcast and say we watched a ton of Brøndby this past season or last season or whatever it may be, right?
Speak
but at
for
the end
yourself.
of the day, I think you stop it. I watch so much.
Every game.
But I think if you're bringing in a guy on a club record deal, I think that shows how much trust that an organization has in a player like that, especially an organization like the Philadelphia Union that doesn't typically go out and spend millions of dollars on a big designated player. They just don't do that. So the fact that they went out, they did that for a 27-year-old striker in his prime, I kind of feel like that speaks a lot, especially for Jim Curtin's standards as well, right? Because I think he has a pretty good eye for talent. He was the Super League's player of the year last year. He was the Super League's Golden Boot winner. He won the league last year, right? Like this guy has dominated where he's coming from, and I think he's coming onto a new challenge. And if he is as good as what it says on paper about him and what everyone's hyping him up to be, I think with adding Julian Carranza as another DP on that Miami loan deal, Philly could be the best team in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we'll get more into that when we go into our conference previews for the season. But this Uhre deal has me nervous as an NYCFC fan to see Philadelphia next season. But we'll see. Again, at the end of the day, with Ercan Kara to Orlando and Mikael Uhre to Philly, we got to see how these players adapt, how they transition, how they come into their new leagues, their new teams. But Sam, DC, like I said before, another Rapid Vienna striker. You may be hearing some other things coming over to Major League Soccer, but DC United signed DP striker Taxi Fountas from Rapid Vienna on a pre-contract, so he's going to be coming over in the summer. If you want to start with that one, I'd love to hear your take on it.
I would be happy to start with Taxi. Taxi is going to be, I think, a really big piece for Hernan Losada's side this season. It's going to, and Tom and I have already debated on how Losada wants to set up. And he did mess around with a few different formations, but I do think that this year with this Taxi signing, it's going to be more of like a 3-4-1-2 with Taxi playing that number 10 role, able to kind of bounce the ball out wide as he needs to, but also is known to feed players through on goal, as you'll hear about in a minute. So Ola Kamara still on the team as one of the strikers, and I think that between him and Taxi, the team's going to really have a more creative outlet. Like Ola likes to score goals, but he's not as fast as he used to be anymore. And I think that he's going to be playing more of a deep lying forward role these days than more of that break through the lines kind of striker that he has been in the past. Taxi's got international experience with Greece. He's got the Austrian Bundesliga. His championship, quote unquote, came when he played one game for Salzburg off the bench one year. Like he really never got time with Salzburg. So, but a Salzburg team that saw something in him says a lot and just wasn't going to make it through before he went to Vienna. Like I think there's a lot that's going to come out of Taxi this year, and it's a shame that he's not going to come till the summer. I am kind of bummed about that.
But it is nice you got him on a free because it's
Got him on a free.
contract, you know,
Absolutely.
that is the nice part. Yeah, and I
the
mean
DP,
for the old,
so
yeah, I mean that's also
can't
nice,
complain.
right?
I'm
But
just
I
happy
think
that we're spending money.
to the one point you made about Ola Kamara, I think with this move and then the move with Mikael Estrada that we'll talk about in a few seconds, does that make Ola Kamara, extra on the roster? You do also have Nigel Robertha and Adrian Perez on the roster. Not that they're Ola Kamara level, but could you potentially trade off Ola Kamara for $1 million in GAM to RSL, to Minnesota, to Colorado, whatever it may be, right? Something like
Chicago.
that. To
Chicago.
you
want
have
him? Come
cash
and get him,
now.
Jason.
So, take anyone.
So
does
Nigel
that make him
Robertha was
extra?
signed. Yes, yeah. So Robertha was signed last year to be like the backup to Ola Kamara. He's pretty young from what I remember. He only got very minimal game time, had some injury trouble when he came over. And I think that was one of Lucy Rushton's first like signings as GM for DC. So someone that she believed in and someone that she wanted to bring over. And so I assume if something were to happen, Ola Kamara is being shopped. I have heard he's being shopped around MLS. Nothing concrete from any team looking to get him back. So I'm not against him going, but he was tied for Golden Boot last year. Can't complain. But, a good striker, a lot of penalties on those goals. It wasn't a lot of open play goals, to be fair. So I'm ecstatic for who we brought in for a striker.
Yes. So you want to talk about Mikael Estrada?
I would love to talk about Mikael Estrada. And I feel bad because I feel like, Jason, I want to throw something to you, but I don't know if you know anything about
There's
these
so
things.
many DC moves, man.
I know. Well, DC's finally done something with money.
This whole podcast is just DC.
DC was like, we're not going to do anything this entire offseason.
And then
do everything within 3 days. And
then all of a sudden, they sold like 2 players for essentially $10 million. Like, so I don't know. I'm not going to complain. So Mikael Estrada comes in from Toluca on a loan deal with an option to buy at the end of the season. And again, this is one of Lucy Rushton's big moves. She, being the former GM of Atlanta when they made all these amazing signings, I trust with like every fiber of my being that between her and the scouting staff that she also poached from Atlanta, I have a lot of good faith in what they can do. And she is very high on both Taxi and on Mikael Estrada, thinking that he's going to be a top scoring MLS striker. And so I have hope. And if worst comes to worst, it's a loan deal. But he's scored some fantastic goals. If you watch the highlight reel that DC posted earlier today, he's got some amazing moves.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about this move, what I like about Taxi, what I like about Uhre, Kara, whatever you're going to say, right? Any of these guys. I like that MLS teams are no longer going for like 29-year-old strikers who are maybe like hitting that point where it's like, you have one good year and we'll pay you all this money for it. Like where MLS teams are going for like 24 to 27-year-old players, especially right like a DP striker. Or I know Estrada's not a DP, but you get what I'm saying. For like just really, I don't know, elevating to win now, right? And like it's not. It's just a wave in how Major League Soccer is handling signings and how clubs are handling signings to stay competitive that I'm really loving. Like at the end of the day, I think Estrada, Kamara, and Taxi are going to score a ton of goals combined, and DC is going to be a decent team, right? I don't know if right now this elevates them to MLS Cup champions or Eastern Conference contenders at the end of the day. But what I like is that DC is putting in the money and the time and the effort to compete with what the rest of Major League Soccer is doing. So. Yes, I like this a lot.
I agree. Real quick, I do want to say that I kind of hope, and I know we weren't talking about rumors, but I really hope that this Estrada signing means that we're not going to try to sign
Carlos Tevez.
Carlos Tevez, even on a TAM deal, I don't like it. I just don't think it's a worthwhile move. So I kind of hope that Estrada solidifies the striking partnerships that we are going to have this year. Like, Tevez is fun, and Tevez is a big name, but Tevez is not what DC should be shooting for.
You don't want a 38-year-old striker, but...
Yeah, half-retired striker. That's what I need on my team.
Vaughn and I were
Anyway.
chatting on Sunday, and Vaughn was the biggest proponent of Carlos Tevez coming to Major League
Really?
Soccer. That's what he told me.
Oh, I believe it. Vaughn is all for 38-year-olds who haven't run in 2 years.
I will just say this. I'm sitting here thinking about DC and looking at the moves, and it's like, so they were the leading goal scoring team that missed the playoffs. They had 56 goals. Obviously, they had Ola Kamara,
Really good
Golden
team.
Boot winner. And it's
PK
like,
King,
man,
baby.
you look at what they
PK?
brought in, and they've got, like, they lost Reyna, Arriola, Kamara's getting pushed to the bench. They're bringing in all attacking guys. They lost Paredes. They're bringing in Brad Smith, and I'm like, this is just going to be a team that's going to have to be front foot. Like,
It's going to be fun.
like, if they're not putting in goals, this team is going to be a lot of the same. I think there's going to be some high scoring, wild DC United games because I don't think they've really addressed their areas of need.
Did you see what DC posted on social media today?
No.
Lasada
Which one?
had the players. I think it was TikTok. I think it was. But
oh, geez. Okay. Don't follow them on TikTok.
Come on, get on your game, Sam. Lasada had his players running some type of military drill, like they were climbing.
They were doing a SWAT training today. Yeah.
Yes.
Lasada
is going to have these dudes with 2% body fat, and they're going to score.
That's scary.
Yeah, so that's a really good preseason. I know England has done that before. My high school lacrosse team did Navy SEAL training. It's a good team building exercise, and when you're bringing in a number of new guys, having team building where you're all suffering like shit together. That's a good move.
What were they actually doing?
No, they were doing the Florida SWAT obstacle course.
Oh my god.
Yeah, a bunch of soccer players.
That's pretty cool. I'd honestly want to try that out.
Yeah. No,
MLS should do that.
All-Star Weekend.
All-Star Weekend. Now we're talking.
Who can do the fastest?
I believe in Lasada.
For the podcast.
Yeah, we have to do it. Actually,
it's a live
we run
new podcast team building training.
I'm all for it.
We have to hop on camera like this live, and we have to do it. We'll just set it up in a field. Got it. Perfect. Next week, listeners.
Someone needs to get a drone.
Let's finish up the DC talk, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm calling on you a lot this week because we need you this week.
For once, my team made moves, so it's okay. I will be quiet the rest of the season.
So let's steer away from the striker conversation and look at what DC did on the left wing back, whatever you want to call it at this point. But DC sold left wing back Kevin Paredes to Bundesliga side Wolfsburg. It was a club record transfer of $7.35 million. There's the add-on fees that could potentially raise that number. Also a sell-on fee, which is also nice. From a fan's point of view, Kevin Paredes, obviously a homegrown player. I think he obviously really exploded onto the scene last year. I'm sure it sucks to see him go, but I think you have to be happy about it at the end of the day.
Oh, God, it's so exciting. It's so exciting for him. Yeah, everyone's happy because he was a Northern Virginia kid, made it through the academy, started a couple games 2 years ago. Then last year was the starter most of the season at left wing back. That it's I don't even care that we're now gonna be worse at left wing back. Good for him. And he was called up to help out at US men's national team camp a couple months ago. And then Salzburg wanted to buy him, and now he's going to Wolfsburg. It's very exciting. Good for this kid. His career popped fast, and so I don't think there's anyone who's upset about it. It's a bummer, but you brought in Brad Smith, so that's great, guys. We fixed our problem.
Brad Smith really not a bad left back in his own right. You could do so much worse. He's a stud. Yeah.
He's very good, and he was really good on a fantastic Seattle team. Honestly, I didn't even realize he was a left back. I thought he was a center back for 4 years. So that's all right.
I mean,
look, so I just learned something new.
Now you're gonna learn.
I'm gonna learn if he can run up and down the field like Lasada wants him to.
Hey, look, he was the starting left back before.
He's got SWAT training.
He's got SWAT training,
bro.
Fine. There you go.
Well, that's the shape of his life.
let's steer away from the DC talk. Sam, thank you for
I've
covering your
done my
team
best.
in full for us here. Bye. See you later now.
All right, it was good. It was a good time while it lasted.
Jason, I get to turn to you now, fun friend. How are
Funnily,
you?
this is funnily.
Funnily,
this is still semi DC talk.
it is. But you want to talk about it too. So
I did want to talk about it.
Obviously, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, we saw a pretty big MLS inter MLS move, right? Paul Arriola.
Isn't it the biggest ever, technically?
No, pretty big. It is the biggest ever.
It's literally a record deal.
It's a record for inter MLS deal.
Pretty big.
I mean, can that be classified as pretty big? I think so. But for whatever's sake, it is the biggest inter MLS deal. Paul Arriola transferred from DC United to FC Dallas for the record of $2 million in general allocation money. Jason, I think you and me talking on Slack about this? You don't think Paul Arriola should be worth $2 million?
No. I mean, okay. This is my take. I don't think he should be worth $2 million. I don't think he is worth $2 million. But if anyone's going to be able to overpay for him, it's probably Dallas, considering they have like a plus $7 million per year in their book, probably pre-written down because some homegrown is just going every year. So if anyone can overpay, it's them. And I do think it's an overpay. But even if it's an overpay, I still think it's a good move because I think him coming along, joining Velasco, I think that's going to be just a completely revamped attack. Paxton Pommelko's probably jumping because that guy's probably super happy. But I think overall, Dallas is just like, hey, you know what? We're not just a selling team anymore. They made splash some cash that they've got deep pockets at this point. And I think this is going to be a really good move for them. Obviously, we all know what Arriola can do. He's had some pretty big injuries, but he usually comes back and he looks pretty fine. I mean, he's still only 27, so in the prime of his career, maybe on the front end of that. And I think they signed him to a long-term deal, so he's gonna be around there for a while, which with their coach in their first year, I think that's a great idea. Sam is not happy.
I mean,
I'm coming for you, Jason.
Hey, it can be an overpay and still a good move.
It's not an overpay.
It is an overpay.
No.
$2 million for Paul Arriola.
$2 million.
Oh, too much money.
Gamflation. It's peanuts.
Yeah. Next year, the average transfer is going to be like 2.5, so you're fine. But Jason, is there a player currently in Major League Soccer? And obviously, you could say like Josef Martinez, right? But is there a player currently in Major League Soccer you think is more deserving of a $2 million GAM price tag?
No, he can't.
Like Christian Roldan.
Christian Roldan. You think Christian Roldan?
Christian Roldan is worth more.
Jordan Morris. I would pay more for Jordan Morris.
I agree with that. That one I agree with. I don't know about Roldan.
I'd pay more for.
Sam's fuming down right there.
Yeah, Sam's pretty upset. Sam, I'm not saying I don't like the move. I'm just.
I can't believe you're sitting there going.
Money. You
Paul
should be
Arriola
happy.
is not worth
you
$2
guys
million.
got more money than I think you should have.
Well, honestly, the GAM market is very different from like if Paul Arriola was to finally go to Swansea like he was going to last year before their shitty ass pitch broke his ankle. Like, Paul Arriola is like a good player. The problem with Paul Arriola,
I'm not saying he's bad.
No, the problem at DC was that he did not fit into Losada's system. Like when you only have, because Paul Arriola belongs on the right wing, he does. And when you only have one guy who belongs on the right wing and he's also supposed to defend, it does not work. So Paul Arriola just did not fit and was playing more of a central striker role. They did not overpay for someone who scores a lot of goals for the men's national team.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'm going to put an end to this. I know what I did.
I think it's the most angry I've ever made, Sam.
No. We've talked about the Supporter Shield longer than this.
Yeah. No, the Supporter Shield conversation.
Yeah, that one.
I don't think we were on different. I don't remember what side
we were. We were. That's fine. I just disagree. I think that they paid value in MLS market for Paul.
That's because you guys got that money.
Yeah, and guess what?
Yeah, I'd love it too.
Properly?
If they
Probably
$2
not.
million to me.
All right. I need
Where we
to.
go
I
out
need to
by-
take. I'm taking control. I'm muting you two. You two are done. You two are done right now. I knew what I was doing when I started the conversation. I stirred the pot. I know I did. But Sam, you gotta relax over there. You gotta relax. All right, but in all seriousness, it was a great move, I think, to pick up a player of quality like Arriola for FC Dallas, including bringing in Alan Velasco. Jason, thank you for bringing that up as well. Two brand new, fresh
problem.
faces at striker to add to an even sexier attack. Jesus Ferrara, Paxton Pomykal. Right, the team, I think at this point, the Hunt family made a promise again this offseason that they're going to invest into the first team, and they kind of kept up with the promise this year for the first time seemingly ever. So FC Dallas with a brand new revamped attack. Sam, do you want to say anything about Arriola not relevant to Jason before I get into Velasco really quickly?
Sure, that's fine. I think he's going to do great in Dallas. I really do. I think the way that Dallas is setting up their attack, I think he'll do well, and he'll. Nope, I'm not going to go there. It's fine. He's going to be fine. He's going to do well. He's going to continue to make Gold Cup rosters, random U.S. Men's National Team January camp rosters. Like he's a fringe player. Like maybe I don't know. Like Jordan Morris will make it before he does, but like I think he is one of those like fringe final roster kind of guys. But I think like playing in Dallas will put him closer to a World Cup roster than he would for DC.
Okay. And
my 2 cents, Charlotte dodged the bullet.
Oh, were you guys going for him too?
Holy shit.
Oh my God, mute everyone.
I'm coming for fucking next.
Oh my goodness, that was like
I'm wearing a
just sitting there listening, like
right
just
now.
like, oh, I'm about to drop a bomb.
Yeah, Vaughn's like, wait until
that was
Sam hears my
amazing.
take.
Yep. Let me just mute my mic again so Vaughn can talk.
Vaughn also thinks $2 million is a lot of money.
$2 million is nice.
It is a lot of gam. I mean, Charlotte's got like $3 million that they're sitting on. They would have used 2/3 of it on one player.
Yep.
You've got to be darn sure that's going to hit. For FC Dallas, I hope he stays healthy. That's the big thing.
They have better fields than Swansea. I'm just saying. Like,
do they?
So did you guys read that Athletic article where he literally said the problem with the championship is all of their fields suck, and that's how I broke my ankle. So like, it's
says the dude who wanted to go back to Liga MX. He openly said, "I want to go back to Mexico."
Yeah, probably would have made more money.
Half their fields are pieces of shit.
I agree. Just think,
whatever.
Their fields suck, and he still said the championship was worse.
Will I be happier with Darwin Machis as my winger than Paul Arriola and being $2 million of GAM poorer? No, I'll be much happier with Machis.
You'll be fine until the playoffs.
What playoffs? No.
Yeah. You're talking playoffs.
Sorry, Dallas isn't making the playoffs.
Hey. Okay, so let's go back to Dallas. Alan Velasco was the other winger
Wait.
in.
Sam just said that Dallas isn't making the playoffs. So they spent $2 million to do nothing. Literally moved nowhere.
Probably.
So that's way too much money.
We'll see. I can't wait to preview Dallas in the previews. This is gonna be great.
I can't tell if I should put him high now just to spite you or low.
Dallas has added a new goalkeeper, a new right back, obviously a brand new shiny $2 million winger, and a brand new shiny $7 million winger, which is Alan Velasco,
that's hard.
The club record signing. So I do think they hopefully will make the playoffs. But Velasco, 19-year-old winger, only 69 career games underneath his belt, coming from Independiente.
Nice.
But I think, Vaughn, we talked about it maybe 2 weeks ago that I don't know if it was on the actual recording before or after the recording, but watching a lot of Velasco highlight tapes, like this kid can ball. Dallas is going to sell this kid for like $20 million come, I think, 3 years time. Like this kid is a very good player. He is not going to be hanging around Dallas too long if I have any type of opinion on that. But let's move forward away from Dallas, away from Paul Arriola, away from people stirring the pot on this podcast. And Jason, I'm going to go back to you on this next
I don't want to
topic.
make anyone angry.
I'm fine, dude. I'm fine.
I'm just kidding.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, I don't care.
I know you
Sam's
don't.
laughing like Heath Ledger in Batman. He's like, I'm fine. It's all good. Don't worry.
It's fine. You want to see the pencil? Like, it's fine.
Oh, God.
But I think a move that came out of nowhere, like I didn't expect this move to happen. We were talking about Matt Turner going to Arsenal, right? And that's still not official yet, even though there's reports coming out tonight that it's almost on paper going to be announced soon, whatever. But the Colorado Rapids sold their own player to Arsenal and center back Auston Trusty. He's going to be staying with.
Leaving.
You did. I didn't think Arsenal, but
I didn't think Arsenal either.
But Trusty is going to be staying with the Rapids until the summer. It's going to be, from what I'm seeing on Transfermarkt, it's a reported $2 million sale. Philly gets 30% of the final total. Obviously, Trusty was a Philly homegrown player, so Philly gets a nice cut of this pie as well.
Philly's like, oh shit, thank you.
Yeah, Philly's like, we got a nice little chunk of that. But Jason, I'll start with you. Trusty to Arsenal. I mean, like, that is a very random combination of words, I feel like, that don't make any sense in my head still.
There's a small caveat, I think, because he's loaned.
Big caveat.
Okay,
big caveat.
He's loaned back to Colorado at least until the summer, which means he's going to stay with Colorado to continue his development. And Arsenal has said that the intent is to loan him in Europe for the 2022-2023 season. So he's not going to be at Arsenal for
until he gets to camp and Arteta's like, yo, this dude can
Well, then I'm all for that.
They already have no
players. Wait, let's not loan him out because he's actually really good. I'm fine with that. But the whole thing is he's not actually going to Arsenal tomorrow or whatever. He's going to continue his development within MLS and then potentially within Europe or with Arsenal. Who knows? I mean, Arsenal probably could use him. Have you seen their defense the last couple of years? Yeah. It's like Swiss cheese. But I kind of felt like this was coming, right? I mean, we talked about the Abubakar Keita move. What was that, like a month ago? And we were talking about how, this is a depth move for them. And that's when it sort of started coming up on the podcast, I think, where it was like, well, Trusty is this young, I think he's 23, right? Young guy who's obviously been killing it. I mean, he played almost 3,000 minutes last season, consistent. He's got, I don't know, definitely over 100 appearances in MLS, I think.
100%.
So, I mean, he's been around. He's been growing pretty consistently. It was only a matter of time until this sort of went through. And I think this is a huge move for him to just get a little bit more recognition nationally, because obviously he was a major piece in Colorado getting that top spot in the Western Conference last season. And I think it's really good also that he's starting out loaning back to Colorado, where he's consistently starting and comfortable. There's a lot of C words there. But overall, I mean, it's really cool to see another American go abroad Arsenal's not my favorite team, but to go to Arsenal is still a big move. So that's pretty cool.
I like the move. It's exciting. It's fun. I just don't want to see Trusty ending up like Eric Palmer Brown or Matt Miazga, like these guys who make the jump to big EPL clubs.
Yeah, but those are big EPL clubs.
See, but I think we're burying the lead. But I think we're burying the lead here, guys. I think we're way burying the lead here, right?
What's the lead one? Let's hear it.
No, the big caveat is that Arsenal and Colorado Rapids are owned by the same guy.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
so,
right.
So they're Kroenke's able to basically get him off the books in a way, or even pay him through the transfer money.
That's a really good point.
And then send him back on a reduced loan back to Colorado Rapids. So Colorado gets to reduce their cap hit for Auston Trusty, with no intent of Trusty ever playing for Arsenal. They still get to retain him and potentially sell him on. It ultimately benefits Kroenke there. And what I don't understand is we just had this whole situation with Kellen Acosta. Why did he not get the same treatment?
Yeah. This
right?
is really funny, Vaughn, though. You got to remember, Stan Kroenke doesn't remember that he owns Colorado. Like, he doesn't know.
I don't think Stan Kroenke knows what he owns.
This is genius, but you're so much smarter than he is. Like, that's the problem. Like,
I'm just saying that we all know Austin Trusty is not playing for Arsenal. Like, it will not happen.
It's gonna be like Matt Miazga. It's fine.
Wait, he could.
Unless Kroenke is trying to reduce the dollars at Arsenal, which could very well be the case.
Put some 23-year-old American and it's fine.
That's his whole thing.
Like,
but the funny thing about this, in all seriousness, is if Trusty actually, I'm sure Trusty will get like some training sessions with Arsenal, right? Like before they actually find a loan deal for him, whatever it may be. I don't know where else Kroenke and that group owns in Europe. I'm sure they own some minor part of another team they can make a loan move to, whatever. But the funny part is, I feel like if Trusty actually does impress decently, like there is a chance he gets a spot at Arsenal. Arsenal hasn't been the greatest team in the past, 5 years. It's not like they're even fighting for a top 5 spot at some points in this past few years stretch. So is there a small, do I agree? Do I ever think he makes an actual like stretch of appearances for Arsenal? No. But do I think that there's a small chance it could happen? Yes. I do like Trusty. I think Trusty's a very good player. I just don't know if he's EPL Arsenal good. I think maybe we could see a good loan deal to the Eredivisie, the Austrian Bundesliga, something like that. Belgium, right? Something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if Trusty at Arsenal is going to work out. But it's still some nice cash for Colorado to play around with.
To be fair,
yes, Sam. Sorry, go ahead.
To be fair, Austin Trusty is better than Gedion Zelalem was when he was at Arsenal, and Arsenal gave him a chance. So I could like Austin. What do you mean? First of all,
don't you blame my NYCFC player right now for being any type of poor
dude? He was like. He was at Arsenal when I was like a freshman in high school, and everyone's like, "This kid's gonna be good. He's from Merrill." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Merrill there." And then he sucked. Like he's not good.
Really quick fun fact: Gedion Zelalem, Sam. I know you know ages so well. How old do you think he is?
26.
That's what I was.
25. 25.
Oh, I was close. That's not bad, actually. That's the closest I've ever been.
But sorry, Sam, you were saying about Zelalem.
No, that's all I got. Like, I just don't like. I think Trusty has a better chance at Arsenal, but I just like it's just one of those things where you're just going to keep loaning the guy out, even with these new loan rules that like Europe has to contend with. I just don't foresee him like really getting time at Arsenal, like that a team that's going to be shooting for these big moves, like signings in the future. I just don't see Austin Trusty as that guy. Maybe he is. Like I really like Austin Trusty a lot, and I think he's got a bright future for the men's national team, and I think he has a bright future like in Europe, but I don't think it's with Arsenal. Like, so I don't know.
Kroenke is clearing the books, and he's about to get that Super Bowl money. So
that's a good point.
Also doesn't even know
watch out for Colorado. They're coming.
Maybe the Rapids finally signed a DP.
Maybe they signed a
MLS that have zero on the books. But Vaughn, you said a point.
Thank you,
Vaughn,
Jason.
You said a point that was buried that I think is actually the lead. Is how abused Kellen Acosta has been in this entire situation.
Kellen Acosta got dicked.
He got dicked. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, Colorado, does Colorado do they get the money since Trusty is technically a homegrown player, just not for them? Is that a dumb question?
I feel like Philly would get the money.
No.
Well, Philly gets 30%.
Philly gets 30%.
Oh, 30%. Oh,
but I think they're homegrown.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
But like then the league,
that's the brain.
Well, no, they would have traded his homegrown rights. He would have traded his homegrown rights for that. So 30%,
Colorado should get the money.
Colorado will get 70%.
Got it. Okay, so there was incentive for Colorado to sell Trusty, not
Take
sell
that,
Acosta,
MLS.
because Acosta wasn't a homegrown at that. Got it. Okay,
But
makes
they
sense.
sold the money to the guy that he owns both teams.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna put
So-
Who
this
else
stack of
does
money
he
into this
own?
stack of
Like,
money.
does he own anyone else that's like he's gonna get loaned to?
I looked it
Probably.
up. As the predominant owner of a club, it's just Arsenal and Colorado. I'm sure
Well,
he's a minority owner in other.
And quite frankly, what they're allowed to do is they're allowed to convert that to GAM. That's the other thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Just send
They're
Austin Trusty
they're
to
able
the
they're able to
Rams.
take actual cash from Arsenal, put it into Colorado, convert it to GAM. So they essentially just created an additional $1 million of GAM.
Why
I
hasn't
really
this been
feel like
done
he's not
every
that
year?
smart though.
I don't think it is either.
Because I don't
Vaughn's
think they're that
finding
smart. I think Vaughn
loopholes.
is too smart.
Yeah, but you just
for
look
that.
at Kellen Acosta, right? Like Kellen Acosta was kept in the league because the teams value GAM over actual dollars,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Fair point.
You can buy down contracts. You can use it across different ways. It's a tradable asset, whereas cash is not. So this is a way to take cash and turn it into a tradable asset.
Well, it made Kellen Acosta pissed off, and then he dicked Honduras, so I'm fine with that.
Dick Honduras, yes. No,
did.
Vaughn,
He
you're
whipped it out.
It's, I don't know. It's just like, I guess there was more incentive again to sell Trusty rather than Acosta. It's just, I don't know.
They're straight
It
up
makes zero
laundering
sense.
GAM. They're laundering
Yes.
cash, turning it into GAM, and clearing the books and playing with the salary cap.
But
And
why doesn't every
Why
team
doesn't
that
Robert
has
Kraft do that?
no, because not every team owns Arsenal.
Owns
Like
Arsenal?
I'm saying every team
But
that
City
has
Football
some
Group should
type
be
of
doing this
ownership.
more.
Yeah.
They-
Oh my
City
God.
Football Group,
NYCFC.
the Red
yeah,
Bulls.
but Citigroup did with Discarud. That was exactly what happened.
Mixed Discord deserves where he's at. He's an amazing player. He's one of my favorites, and he will be the name of my second-born
yeah.
son. It's fine. I
They
love him
did
with
a,
all my heart.
They did that, I think, for
They did do
Angelino as well, if
Oh, yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Angelino, RB Leipzig star, got to start
Yep.
at NYCFC. Everyone needs to remember that. But let's move away
For a
from
season.
Kroenke and clubs and owners dicking things around.
If it's not clear, we
let's talk
don't like
about-
Arsenal on this podcast. So
I mean, I have no pull in the game. I mean, you guys, I know
the rest of
clearly
us all
don't,
hate
so-
Arsenal. So it's
Well, and you're the one who said that they haven't been competitive in 5 years. So
yeah, that's
It's
true.
true,
You were
though.
on that train.
I'm just.
It's more
speaking
like 10,
facts,
but it's
so-
fine.
So we can just dislike them outright. Yeah.
Take that off, Vaughn. Take
I
that
like
off.
keep it Vaughn. Editor Vaughn is doing his good job.
Let's talk about another exciting young American. Obviously, we talked about Paredes getting the sale to Wolfsburg, right? Another young left wing back, technically, because he gets up into the attack a lot. George Bello also got sold to the Bundesliga. So George Bello sold from Atlanta United to Armenia Bielefeld. Sam, I feel like you know how to say it.
Bielefeld, I think is
Sure, thank you.
Bielefeld.
Sounded right.
I play
club in
FIFA
the
sometimes. It's fun.
A club in the Bundesliga. They sold him for a reported $600,000 that could increase to around $1.8 million if certain incentives are hit. Also, a sell-on fee, which I think is the biggest part to all of it at the end of the day. Obviously, I think Bello, similar to Paredes, really exploded onto the scene. I think, obviously even more with kind of where Bello stands in that left back depth chart with the USMNT as well. He's won everything he can possibly win with Atlanta United in his short stint in Major League Soccer. Close to 80 games total for the club. I'm a big fan of Bello. I think he has a very bright future ahead of him. I think he could be that left back for us heading into the 2026 World Cup. I think he's like the dude, in my opinion, but I'll hold that back for a future USMNT conversation. But does anyone have any Bello takes, or are we just happy the dude got his sale to the Bundesliga?
Yeah.
Samuel.
That one. Yeah, I have two. One, I think that it's really exciting that he told Atlanta he wanted out. Atlanta immediately started to shop him around. He had an offer from Belgium that Atlanta took. I think that was even for more money, and he said, absolutely not. I want to go to Germany. Yeah. And Arminia Bielefeld come in, and he goes, hell yeah, that's where I want to go. team in 15th place, tied for points with Augsburg in 16th place. I mean, he's going to be on a team that's fighting to stay in the Bundesliga this year, which is great in the sense that you're in the Bundesliga. It's hard to walk in to Germany in a new culture that you've never been a part of and fight against relegation. Sorry. So I think that's good for him though, because like honestly, a lot of guys would not do that. Also, you guys remember like 4 years ago when everyone went, you guys know that Andrew Carlton guy? He's really good. I guess George Bello is pretty good for Atlanta though too. I wonder if he'll turn out like Carlton does. And then one guy turned out to be a MAGA nutcase, and the other guy's really good at soccer.
Yeah. I mean, where is he? Carlton is down in
isn't he in Indiana?
UPSL.
Oh my god!
UPSL. Yeah, he is playing in the UPSL right now.
I remember the Bleacher Report article that said Andrew Carlton is the next Christian Pulisic, but he's like the MLS Christian Pulisic.
That's because you're looking at Bleacher Report, bro.
No. Hey, well, yeah, 5 years ago when I read Bleacher Report, not The Athletic, because it didn't exist.
True.
I think at one point Carlton's ability was very good, right? Like at the end of the day, his ability on the field was ridiculously good. But yeah, I mean, the fact when you're looking back at it from February of 2022, it's laughable, right? But hindsight is 2020.
That's enough, man.
I agree for the rest of time. I just wanted to say, like, isn't it funny that everyone was like, Bello's kind of the afterthought, but still going to be really good. And Bello's
for
that
Germany, initial homegrown group.
Yeah,
well, and they also lined things up to quickly replace it. Like Andrew Gutman has been in the wings. They had him on loan. Yep. Like they had it all planned and scheduled.
Good player.
Jason. It'd be nice to have him.
It'd be pretty cool to have Andrew Gutman. I wonder if the Fire could have gotten some guy like that.
Like the crazy part about like Andrew Gutman is like when he
we don't have to keep going with it.
No, when he got loaned to the Red Bulls last year, I was like, that's weird and inter MLS.
He was on the Red Bulls last year?
Rarely happens. Yeah, he was one of the best left backs in the league.
And he was on the Charlotte Independence the year before that.
I remember that more than I remember the Red Bulls.
He's a traveler. He's a world traveler.
And Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember Cincinnati. I remember when he was in
Andrew
Celtic
Gutman.
in Scotland.
And he used to, Celtic, Yep.
Yeah, he's been
all over.
He's consistently one of just like the more above average left backs. I'm not going to call him like a fantastic left back, but he's an above average left back in Major League Soccer. Replacing Bello with Gutman right away, Vaughn, to your point, fantastic. Like having him right there. A lot
of teams could use an Andrew Gutman.
A lot of teams, man. A lot of teams could. Let's talk about another player that the Fire could probably use at this point. Ezequiel.
No, you don't got to keep doing that.
That's literally every player we talk about, period.
Okay. I wouldn't want to spend I would actually spend $2 million on Arriola.
You should. You could use it. You guys don't have $2 million in the game. It's fine.
Barco is joining Leandro Gonzalez Perez and Tomas Pochettino as two other MLSers to go on loan to River Plate this offseason. Obviously, I think after Miguel Almiron, Barco was like the dude, right? Everyone expected the next Atlanta United signing. I think at that point he was the record signing for Atlanta United to come in, and he's going to just take off. The fact that he's still only 22 years old and he hasn't lived up to, I think, the potential that many, especially Atlanta United fans, placed on him. But I still think he's a hell of a player. I still think he's a really good player at the end of the day. And going to play for River Plate also isn't bad at the end of the day. Pretty decent club down in South America. But I mean, this seems like it, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, any of you. Do you think you see Barco back in Major League Soccer at any time soon?
God, no.
He gone.
Bye. Yeah. Nice to have you.
He'll get picked up by someone after this year.
He probably gets bought out by River Plate for, I think, like next year, and then the year after that, when he's only 24, 25, he gets sold to like a European club or something. It sucks because I really liked him. I think he honestly, when he was on his game, I think he was one of the best players in Major League Soccer. It's just that consistency was never there.
Yeah, amazing player to get in FIFA career mode.
He also had like impossible shoes to fill too. You know, like he came into the league expecting to like, hey, replace Almiron. You're 19 years old.
The one place where the expectations are massive.
Yeah, no, it's super mild expectations down there.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
It's fine.
Yeah, he had it.
But
Tough.
I mean,
he got screwed. But like, I mean, people like, I don't know if you guys remember however many years ago that was that he got signed. All the Atlanta United fans had Barco watch, and like everyone's tweeting about boats, and they were just so excited, like what was going to happen. Everyone's reading like the Argentine like newspapers looking for the word Barco at this point. It was incredible how excited they were, and like he was destined to go to like
watch.
Yeah, well that's a fair point. But they were like, this guy was destined to go to like PSG or like, someone really big at some point. That was like the words coming out of Argentina. He was going to be the stepping off point for Atlanta, and then like the consistency was never there. And now he's getting loaned to River Plate, where he's going to succeed. He's already started the first couple games for them this year, and he's gonna do really well.
Did Atlanta make any money, or did they lose a shitload on this move?
Depends on if they sell.
Well, he was what, 8.5 million?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I feel like they always make money, even in their moves.
Was it a loan with an option to buy? Did they announce that?
River Plate has an option to buy. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just keep it moving. Yep. Another young, talented player leaving Major League Soccer in Yefferson Soteldo. In a very, I guess, what we traditionally see in American sports of just a straight up trade. We got a straight up trade between Tigres and Toronto FC. So Yefferson Soteldo going down to back to Liga MX, going to Tigres. And TFC have themselves a new DP center back in Carlos Salcedo. So I don't know if anyone has any points here that they want to chat about. I could really care less about Soteldo. He was the best player on a shitty Toronto FC team last year. Never really got a fair shot in MLS. Sucks to suck. Maybe we see it again. Probably not.
We'll see him in the League Cup.
We'll see you in the CCL final. But Salcedo. I think Salcedo is one of the I maybe not now, but I think if you look a year or two ago, he was one of the best players in CONCACAF overall. Like, I think he's a very, very talented player. He has a ton of experience within Liga MX itself, but then also kind of getting a shot over in Europe. At 28 years old, I know he's a DP, but he's on that TAM border where he can get bought down. This is just Bob Bradley setting things up fantastically, bringing in Insigne earlier this offseason, bringing in Salcedo at this point. Like, I love this move, and I love what Bob's doing off-season number one in Toronto. So I don't know if you guys have any things you want to say. Yeah, Vaughn.
Well, another big one, like to me, TFC, they've got Insigne coming in the summer, but between Salcedo stepping in and the one that was just announced, Jesus Jimenez, those are two big additions that are going to contribute early on. That are not, going to. They're going to be long-term plays for the team. Let me put it that way. TFC is putting it all on the table to turn things around very quickly. I mean, the pieces that they brought in for Bob Bradley, and that ownership is backing him up. If they can buy time and be competitive and start instituting that Bradley style, we know his teams can win in MLS, and then they can add in Insigne in the summer. TFC is, I don't want to run into them in the playoffs already. Like, but preseason, I'm like, holy moly, they are building something pretty special.
If Ayo Akinola can stay healthy too, he's a dangerous player in Major League Soccer. I feel like we've said this the last two off seasons, but we just see him get injured quite often, which is unfortunate. But I feel like if he stays healthy, he's scoring 15 plus goals a season for sure. So I like what Toronto's doing right now. And I really think that once Insigne comes in, Toronto's going to be even more dangerous. They're going to be back to kind of the global place of dominance, especially if they also buy down Salcedo's contract too. So really like what Toronto's doing. I think also getting Josie's contract off the books is going to be pretty nice for them, opening up a DP spot there as well. I'm a big fan of Josie. You guys know that, but I also understand he's on a pretty high contract there.
Is he officially in New England?
No, It is all still reports at this point, but yes, the report from Tom Bogert is that he is joining the New England Revolution, as you know, because they need another striker with Buxa, Altidore, Bo, whoever the hell else you want to throw up there. They just, they have these dudes who are just, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. But seeing Josie play for Bruce Arena is also going to be pretty fun. The other move, the next move that I want to quickly chat about is DeAndre Yedlin is back in Major League Soccer. Inter Miami finally got the deal done, bringing the USMNT right back home. I love it. I mean, I have to kind of love it. I have to start paying attention to Miami a little bit more. But I think we talked about this last week too. DeAndre Yedlin does not make Inter Miami a playoff team. DeAndre Yedlin alone does not make Inter Miami a good team in any sense. Do I think his experience, his age, his marketability can be a type of player where Inter Miami can kind of build off of the next 2-3 seasons? Yes. So if this is the first couple moves that Henderson's really going to do to kind of bring in a guy like that he knows and he trusts, I like it. I trust Chris Henderson. So good move in its own right there.
I can't believe he's 28.
It's crazy,
man. 28 years old. I feel like he's been around for 50 years.
He's only 3 years older than Gedion Zelalem. There you go.
Stop. Stop that.
That actually makes him seem kind of young.
I'll tell you what, though. DeAndre Yedlin's perfect for Inter Miami because he's already played for one team that doesn't know how to run from the front office. Now he gets Miami. Like, Newcastle to Miami makes a lot of sense. Yeah. He's going to be like, guys, this is totally normal.
this is what we do now.
He's fine. Like,
I'm hoping Miami.
I think DeAndre Yedlin is a really good player still. Like, I think Galatasaray was a tough place to go. I think that Yedlin will be fine in MLS again, and I look forward to seeing him play more.
Yeah, I don't want my negativity about the move to come across as like I hate DeAndre Yedlin.
Well, no, Miami's just not set up for success. Like, that's their problem.
Miami's not going to win in the next 2 years. Like, they're not going to do much winning. It's going to take the long build, the Chris Henderson transformation, and maybe in 3 years, 4 years, they put together some type of team that can compete, right? That we know that. And DeAndre Yedlin, I think, can be that dude who can just be Harrison Awful-esque at right back, like just a solid piece on the right side of the defense. The other move that I quickly want to talk about, obviously this is a little bit of a selfish move for me, but New York City FC signing a brand new DP center back in Thiago Martins, the third Thiago to join New York City FC. So, Ronnie Dyla has a name he likes. But for those of you who don't know, Thiago Martins, for many reports, was hailed as the best center back in the Japanese first division. I'm not sure how that translates to Major League Soccer, so please don't ask me. But what I do know is that this dude is fast as hell. Watching his highlight tapes, he is burning wingers. He is burning forwards. Like, this guy is fast as hell. He's also a pretty physical guy for being only 6 foot, right? I know NYCFC fans were used to Chanot and Cayens, who I think are both 6'2" and 6'4", or 6'2" and 6'3". Like, he's going to be a little bit shorter, but at this point, I think the center back pairing is going to be Thiago Martins and Alexander Cayens. Maxime Chanot take a little bit of a step back last year, but he's going to be the first, dude off the bench, and I don't hate that at all. The scary three center back system is going to work, and everyone's going to need to play their minutes, especially with CCL action. So I love the move, especially if we can also buy his contract down as well, which it looks like we possibly can. So I'm loving it. I'm loving NYCFC only getting better. Boys, let's finish things up this episode and chat about the U.S. men's national team, because they did play 3 games, 2 really good positive results, 1 very shitty negative result. So let's start with the negative. The second game of this World Cup qualifying window, we saw the USMNT lose 2-0 to Canada in Ontario. Goals coming from Kyle Aaron and Sam Adekugbe, 2 former MLSers. Does anyone want to start with how bad this loss was? Because this was one where I felt we should have at least competed, and the entire roster, the entire game just felt like our big name players weren't there physically, weren't there mentally. Obviously, Christian Pulisic got a lot of hate after this one, but whether that's rightfully or not rightfully deserved. But does anyone have any takes they want to start off with the Canada game? No,
I just think the sky's not falling, right? Like I think
it's not.
I think that we have a lot of U.S. men's national team fans that want just like the world to burn. And if anything less than a win occurs, that like, burn it all down, get rid of Berhalter, get rid of the U.S. soccer pyramid, like rebuild it, USSF trash, right? And I think it's a big overreaction. This team is still second in qualifying behind a Canada team that is on an unprecedented run in World Cup qualifying. Like kudos to Canada, like give them some credit. They are doing incredible in qualifying and are going to deservedly probably end up undefeated and in the World Cup. USA is going into the final 3 games of qualifying in a really good spot. They control their own destiny more so even than when they were going down to Cuba. And I think that it's going to be okay.
I still hate that word.
I know it's not a fun one to say.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
But it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Right? Yep. Okay, we lost 2-0 on the road in CONCACAF. It's going to happen.
People love
perspective. Even Berhalter. I mean, you guys know I don't want to be a Berhalter like apologist or anything like that, but like the team has lost 3 games in like 18 months.
2,
yeah.
4 games. Like it's very, very little. This is a team that has come a very long way from where we were not too long ago, and struggling through cycles with Klinsmann, Bruce Arena, Dave Sarakin days. Like this team, the challenge, like the part I can get on board with is we're not playing an attractive style. It's inconsistent in producing goals. But to me, that's more on the players than it's on Berhalter, right? Because we've seen Berhalter teams turn Gyasi Zardes and Ola Kamara into 20 goal scorers off of tap-ins. His system can generate goals for strikers. And right now, this U.S. men's national team is not creating anything in the final third. It right now, right? Like the success that we had in the third game was offset pieces. Colin Acosta going absolutely bonkers. And I think the U.S. men's national team over the next, they've got until November to start figuring out ways to play cohesively and generate in the final third. And if they don't, all right, then the goal, the realistic goal for the World Cup, right? Like this team is far away from winning World Cup. Make progress, make the thing, be competitive when you're there. And when I say competitive, like get through the group stage and be in the mix where you might be able to advance through a round or two once you hit the round of 16, if you can get there. Like that should be the realistic goal.
Yeah.
Vaughn, you're right. I think that at the end of the day, us as USMNT fans, or not us specifically, the 4 of us, but I'm talking a larger mass of us, expect, like we have a player playing at Juve, we have a player playing at Chelsea, we have a player playing at Barcelona. Like we expect this the same way, like FIFA and like Football Manager works. Like these are real people. These aren't just characters in a video game with ratings and grades and scores to them, right? Like we're like that's not it. Like Christian Pulisic is gonna have a bad game, and he has had bad games. And I'm not gonna sit here and be a Pulisic apologizer, but he hasn't shown up at times, and that's fair, even though he is playing at Chelsea, and that those 2 things exist at the same exact time. I think at times blame this group of players more than I blame Berhalter. Maybe again, you could boil that down to Berhalter calling in some of his quote unquote favorites rather than some dude playing in the Greece 5th division who has 17 goals and all this shit. But I think at the end of the day, like this group is going to be fine. This group should, knock on wood, make the World Cup. And Vaughn, like you said, like just get out of the group, win a game or 2, and kind of prep for 2026. This group that we have right now is not our best group of players. There is a younger group of players coming up that is going to exceed the likes of, sorry, Paul Arriola, sorry, Jordan Morris, sorry, Gyasi
$2 million Paul Arriola.
We have a U12 player who's worth $8 million in game just coming up down the pipeline. But I think at the end of the day, we need to take a step back. We need to relax. This is a really good group of players coming up. And if the likes of Pulisic, McKennie, Dest, Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, whoever you want to name, right? If these are the guys who are molding that next generation coming up for the USMNT, I'm happy about it. I don't want to just be that guy also like who just keeps pushing it off. Like it's going to come. Success is going to come. 2022 was never going to be, well, like you said, a World Cup winning team. It's just not. But could 2026
Ricardo Pepi is going to be 27 in the 2030 World Cup. 2
Oh
cycles
my God,
from now.
Holy
I did not even realize. That's
Don't
insane.
keep talking like that. These ages these days are ridiculous.
You look at like Gio Reyna,
Yes.
right? Like these guys are not at their primes yet.
These guys
Like,
are
that's what-
kids, and we're
they're
holding
babies.
the nation on them.
Pulisic
we do
isn't,
not. We need
isn't
to
in his
respect
prime.
them. No, like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
need to
like-
respect that these guys are young.
So build momentum, get into the World Cup, be competitive, start working on a style that gets you
Gain
to a place
experience.
where you can do something really, really meaningful in 2026 when we're hosting this thing. Make some real noise then,
Yeah.
really develop and push the sport forward in the US with gearing everything towards 2026 and then 2030. That's when all these guys are going to be amazing and pop
Yep.
off.
I mean, look, and
Pop
at that
off
point,
at
Gedion Zelalem,
USMNT.
Gedion
Yeah.
Zelalem,
He'll be
33.
like 37 by then. Yeah.
He'll be 33 at the 2030 World Cup. It's fine.
Math is hard. He's not going to make the team. He couldn't make Sporting Kansas City at this point. So
Hey,
right? Isn't that where he is?
MLS,
Right?
nope, NYCFC.
Oh fuck! Oh,
MLS
still?
Cup
Oh,
champion.
shit. I thought they.
Yeah, yeah, baby.
Don't
Come
like
on.
that.
He's an MLS Cup champion.
Do not like that. I got the wrong blue
All right.
team. Ugh.
Before I wrap things up, anything else you guys want to say about
I
USMNT,
do.
MLS? Yes, Jason, hit me.
I just want to repeat what Vaughn said. We're in a really good spot. Like,
Yes.
people act like this guy is Vaughn, but we got Panama at home in the next cycle of games.
That's pretty much winning in.
That's a win.
And it's So, and that's not even to mention Mexico away is going to be tough, and I think we have Costa Rica away.
Yeah.
Winnable game.
Yeah, that's the last game.
Mexico away, still winnable, tough, but at least hopefully we could get a draw on that.
I mean, it's not like we didn't sweep Mexico last year or anything.
Yeah, but
it's fine.
my point is just we're in such a good spot, and everyone is so pissed off all the time. And it's just like, calm down. Like my thing is, like Vaughn was saying about the system, Berhalter, like with the system and a national team, it takes a lot of time because you're not with them every week. You're not with them every couple days. Look at like the teams who have won World Cups, like France. Those players had such good synergy together because they had been playing with each other for so long. Pogba, Griezmann, Conte, all those guys. Germany, that was like an 8-year team that came up.
Italy
together.
winning the Euros.
Italy, Spain. I mean, think about all those guys on that Spain team and how many of them played together for how long before it actually, shown results on the national level.
Well, and
it's not
Berhalter
easy.
hasn't even had a full cycle, right? He's been in there for 3 years, 2 of which were COVID years.
And there's been a lot of injuries he's dealing with. How many have we had a clean cycle where someone hasn't been hurt, some major player? Probably not. So, like, there's a lot that's going on, and the system is building. And whether it's January camp with some players that are up and coming more so, or the, full-on World Cup qualifying, there's going to be some growing pains, and a loss to a really good Canada team, it shouldn't put like the fear of God in us. I think we're just a little, testy because of what happened in the past.
I also just think as like an American society, and I'm talking way past soccer, we just like to be miserable. We like to be miserable. I think we
just go worst
like
case
misery.
scenario.
We're just miserable people. It's fine.
We like to
Guys,
complain.
best case scenario, we qualify next
Yeah.
in Mexico. I don't even know if that's possible. I think it might be, but
It is possible.
Yeah.
I think
I
if
think if you
Panama
hit
loses,
24
then we beat
points,
We gotta beat
Mexico.
Panama.
automatic or something.
Yeah. Well, I want to end off this show on a positive note, since we're saying that. Hopefully next week we're here to talk about confirmed moves of Matt Turner to Arsenal, Douglas Costa to the Galaxy, Shaqiri to the Fire. Jason, hey, maybe next week we get some positive Fire conversation. But yeah, guys, MLS season's 3 weeks away. CCL's next week. Get excited, get ready, and we'll talk to you guys soon.